surely die
It's on.
if we don't.
Yeah. Okay, meeting at 6:02, I will call this Finance Committee meeting on April 15th, 2024 to order. First, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of March 18th, 2024.
Motion?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to new business discussion and presentation. We'll start with athletic sports physicals fees.
So I'm going to take that one.
Okay.
And just as background information, we have an agreement with St. Luke's for our healthcare information and our Dr. Page, who serves as our district doctor for like during the day pieces. And then we pay them a fee, I believe it's $5,000 a year to cover that, access to the nurses, trainings, all that stuff that happens during the day. We also have a separate contract, which is for sports medicine agreement. And they provide for us the trainers, other services, access to the doctor. He's often here for football games and a whole number of things that are in these contracts. The contract itself is up if we continue to renew. It ends in 24-25, so we'll have to do another review with them to see if we want to continue with St. Luke's or want to do an RFP. That's not why the topic of the conversation is here. So this changed back in, it was an addendum signed in 19, but prior to that, my understanding is there was a staff member or someone that was paid roughly $20,000 to be the trainer, and then there was a transition to a St. Luke's. So that $20,000 went up to about $27,500 per year. And at the time, they also handled the physicals for our students if they want to come on campus to get their physicals, their PIAA paperwork filled out. So many moons ago, I guess when this happened in 17, 18, and I believe it was under Sandy's watch and when Bobby's first year here, the contract was signed and they were starting to do physicals on property. My understanding is they decided to charge $20 per physical for students that were coming on to get their physical here during that time. And it's been like that for a period of time. So a question has come to me in terms of why we're charging for physicals. I'm giving you the history of my understanding of when the contract went in, and it was $20,000, and now we're with St. Luke's paying $27,500, and that also includes 3 full trainers. So you see the relationship that's here, and I'm sure St. Luke's is doing it for the reasons to benefit their business, but we're not paying dollar figure for the people that are here, right? That's that relationship piece. So the question to me has been posed: why are we charging any money for the physicals? I'm giving you the reason behind the decision that, from my understanding, back to kind of help offset, I guess, from going from 20 to 27.5. It's $20 for the physicals. They do physicals once a year in June. This year's is scheduled for June 3rd, and we're at a point now where I'm bringing the question here because I don't want to simply make a change without having board understanding of what a change is over the past 5 or 6, 7 years in terms of that. So we do not get a bill from St. Luke's for the doctors and folks to be on site to do those physicals. It's a part of this overall package of the $27,500. Every year it seems to be, Drew pulled the numbers the past 3 years, we bring in between $800 and $950 of dollars, so roughly $1,000 shy. So I'm bringing it here because the question came to me, why are we charging? I'm sharing the information, and if the board would like to, or the finance committee would like to move to not charging, that cleans up a lot of the process and paperwork, and we can put that out to our community. And the change, but that change of the past practice, we're giving up, quote unquote, the $800, $900 for that. And why $20 was chosen, I don't know. It's less than a copay, and sometimes with people that have medical insurance, they can get it there for free, or maybe this is less than a copay. So I know my own child gets their physicals through whatever the local place is. There's no charge to it. You know, that's just what it is. So I didn't feel comfortable making a change because one person or 2 people asked, but wanted to bring it here to say this is the history that I'm understanding. Is it worth it for us to move forward with not charging, knowing that, you know, we're still paying the same $27,500. We're not getting a bill for that. So that's the spiel. If there's this movement here at the board level, this committee level, to move forward and say, hey, let's not charge, I'd just like to put it on a board agenda. That way 5 of you can tell me, let's change our past practice from the past couple of years, acknowledging that. And if the committee here is like, no, that's reasonable, $20, then we'll move on.
What do we do with the money? Where's it get?
General fund is
Just
fine.
right in the general fund. Yes.
So we pay the $20 per.
No,
No, the kids are paying
the
$20.
kids show with their paperwork, they pay,
It comes to us.
yes.
And then we give it to St. Luke's.
Well, no, we put it in our general fund. We are paying St. Luke's a balloon payment of
Okay, so they're
$27,500.
not charging us for physicals.
We don't get a separate bill, it's
Okay, so
included in
yeah.
all, I don't want to bore you with 17 bullet items of what they do for us,
They do a
including
lot.
including having 3 on-site trainers, so.
They do a
Sorry,
lot.
but it's a bargain.
Oh, no, 100%. I
Holy
didn't want
cow.
to say that on screen.
It's not a bargain.
100%, no, 100%.
Yeah.
So,
It's a bargain, but the student's parents or the student pays for that.
yeah, they show up, all physicals are due, you have to have a physical after June 1st for the next season of starting.
Right.
So they put it in early June, that way you can get it squared away. Sometimes for some people, they've had a physical in February, because that's when their normal physical is, and it would cost them, let's say, $85 at their primary provider to get another physical within this time frame.
'Cause
So,
it's not covered
because it's not covered, if their
under
insurance, if they get one
They get
yearly and all
once a
that kind of
year,
stuff,
yeah.
right.
Right.
So this was a $20 piece of that. But again, we're not getting a bill from St. Luke's saying,
Right.
you, 25 people came through, here's what it is. It's all a part of the package.
So they're doing the physical, they're not getting money for it, it's going into our.
Yes, we are paying them this balloon payment of a part of the contract,
Right.
so.
I say take it off.
I mean,
$800, are you kidding me? I'm sorry, Peg.
Well, the thing is, we do have kids who can't afford it.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, this is just wondering, would we get more participation if we weren't charging $20? And I know it's not, it doesn't seem like a
In the
lot.
physical or in the sport?
Sorry?
In the physical or in the sport?
In the
In the
sport.
sport.
In the
Yeah.
sport.
Just coming out for sports in
Okay.
general.
Well, do you think that might be, $20 might be prohibitive to somebody?
It could be a deterrent.
Yeah.
I have no facts or figures to
No,
back that up,
exactly.
but, we do have disadvantaged kids in our community, and,
What if you have
you
four?
So-
I just.
So with the revenue being generated, that's roughly 400 kids that are taking advantage of the physicals.
Right.
How many
How
kids
many
do we
athletes do we
have
have that do that?
that are actually in sports that might be paying for that on their own? Do we have 500-600 kids? That
Do we
that
know?
would have been a nice number to kind of have, but,
Yeah, it's roughly 40 to 45 kids per season that come to get
Yeah.
the $20 physicals.
yeah.
And a season, depending upon spring, fall, and winter, I mean, you could be anywhere from 200-something students participating up to 400 students, depending upon the season, so,
Yeah, exactly.
Alan, do you know how the money is collected, like when the physicals happen and they're charged the $20? Like how does the
They
money
just
get
make a
exchanged?
check to Upper Perk School District?
Yeah, but who collects the money? Like how's the money
It's-
exchanged?
the paperwork and things come into the trainers I don't think the trainers, the doctors or the PTs that are here, and then it's brought over to the athletic department, and then it's brought over to the department, because we have all the deposits of the
Yeah.
numbers coming.
So on site when the physicals are occurring?
That's my assumption, yeah.
Okay.
If there's an exchange, here's the paperwork, here's the check,
Yeah.
or here's the $20 cash, and then
Yeah.
go from there. If they have it set up, again, I just checked with Mr. Kirschner
And we don't have
today.
any limit or anything as to how many kids they can do. I'm just
I took
asking the
the
question.
Yona, I believe, for that, and we had to send the check ahead of time to like reserve our spot.
Okay.
And it was a really long line because of however they were limited to this, so there was that part of it. I didn't mind paying the $20, but that's me.
No, right.
I thought it was kind of a copay, I was like, kind of like a copay, so I just didn't
Yep.
care, I kind of dismissed it. I just wonder if by not collecting the $20, is there a chance that so the line was really long, are we gonna double or triple that line just by offering
Could
it
be.
for free? That's my
I mean,
question.
now that you're saying that, there's a sign-up system, so we would have to either have multiple slots, I mean, they could get backed up, or may have to go another day if that's the case. But we're not gonna get charged, quote unquote, any different,
Right.
and if they have to say, hey, we have so many people signed up that you need to come in, I mean, that'd be a good problem to have.
Yeah,
Right, it goes
that's
back to
awesome.
the
It gives
exit-
more kids
challenge.
opportunity.
So they're here for one day?
Right now, they're scheduled for one day, they bring, they're probably
It's like-
3 signups, they know
40
already.
kids, and that's
Yeah,
good.
no, it's probably, I think it's the evening, was it the?
It was the evening.
Yeah, it's like an afternoon, evening thing.
So that's a pretty quick physical.
Yeah.
It's quick, yeah.
Yeah.
The process, once you get there, was quick.
Right.
I was just saying,
Yeah.
the line
And
is.
this year, June 3rd,
Maybe
is as
you
early
need
as
to
it can
prepare
be.
for more than one day, or, you know.
A heartbeat breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're alive, you like cheerleading, off we go.
Right.
If they have to sign up in advance,
Yep.
and you get more kids signing up, then they would just have to.
Yeah, we would adjust for that. I mean, we wouldn't, you know,
Leave it right
we wouldn't
there.
have 30 free slots that everyone else pays. We would just, that'd be a good problem to have,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, I'm no
I'm
problem
fine
with
with
it.
that. Same, okay. Leah, yep, okay.
So then what I'll
There
do
you
is
go.
I'll put a blurb in the board update for this week and just say that this was discussed here, and there'll be a motion on, I'll put it on May 9th. That way this can be shared out at finance,
Yep.
at the committee, that we'll move forward with, simply a motion to move forward with on-site physicals at no charge for students, and leave it at that.
Okay,
Okay.
That's great.
good.
And I agree, Peggy, it is a bargain for what we're
Yeah.
getting in that relationship too.
Yep.
so.
It was
Hey,
worth
just
all the
increase your
signs on
cupcake
the,
prices.
on the doors.
I will.
Thanks, Peg.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the old delinquent real estate taxes final notice / collection process.
Yes, so I looked up sort of that whole collection process that Portnoy goes through in collecting taxes when they are lien. So we have 3 properties, and I always like to come to the finance committee to get your final approval. The board did commit to this process with Portnoy. Portnoy just likes to get another sort of final sign off before these properties move into that final step of collection. So we do have 3 properties. One of them is from 2010 all the way up to 2023. The other couple only have, one of them has 3 years worth and the other one has 5 years worth. So just want to check with the finance committee before I sign off on this, that the finance committee is continuing to move forward with this process and want me to sort of sign off and give them the go-ahead to continue. It would, if you said you wanted to change something, you know, then we need to have sort of a bigger discussion about the resolution that we have with Portnoy and their collection process. But this would just be continuing in fairness to all properties that are lien. This is the process. So that's kind of what I'm just checking, just to make sure we want to keep moving forward.
I stand by our previous decision.
Yeah, I can't believe there's one from 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's horrendous.
How does that go on to go on?
So you can get on a payment plan, and then once you are making payments, then if you stop making payments,
It starts all
it
over.
kind of starts all over again. Yeah, there's ways to sort of delay things.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we're, yeah. If we can keep Leah alive.
Just give me a nod.
It's okay.
Give me a nod.
It's all good. Yep, yeah.
Pat me on the back.
Have me on the back.
Yep, don't fiction.
Okay.
We have a policy for that.
Yeah, right. It's a first aid policy. It's called 911. Right. Sorry, it's been a long day. All right, so am I assuming that we're okay with continuing on the collection process as
Yes.
is?
No change.
Okay. Yep, sure. Okay. How are we doing on our electricity rate lock?
Yeah, so we are a part of a consortium through, it used to be Provident, now they're called something else, they were purchased by another company.
Is it everybody?
Yeah, Allegiance Company,
Thank you.
Legence Company. So we're in this consortium to purchase our electric rates. So it sounds like, and what they're doing right now is they're going out to bid for the electric rate that we're going to purchase for our electric, but it's starting in the 25-26 year. So we're locked up at 5.33 cents per kilowatt hour through the next budget year. But they sort of analyze the market, you know where they are. I mean, they got some really, some pretty cool graphs here that show the natural gas storage levels and how right now they're high from where they normally are. So they think that now is a good time to go out for bid for the 25-26 and beyond. I think what they typically do is a 2-year agreement on these, locking in the electric rate. So the tricky part is that on April 23rd, 3rd, I think it is when all the bids are due. On the 29th, they'll have sort of a tally as to who the winning supplier will be for the electric. And then on May 1st or May 2nd, they need a signature, a sign off. So in between the 29th and May 2nd, I can't get board approval for this. But it's kind of similar to when we're purchasing diesel fuel. The board is committed to be in that consortium. We're getting better rates here than what we could get on our own, presumably. So I'm just throwing it out here. That's the timeline. Are you okay with me signing off? Did you want some sort of board approval to authorize me to sign off? Or I'm not really sure how to proceed with this timeline for these electric lock-in.
Well, if it were up to me, I would say it would be fine with you, because that's kind of it's so time sensitive.
Yeah.
Maybe you could just include it in a board update, whether you thought it was fair. How's that?
Yeah.
I don't know that we can do much more than that.
Well, if we did have you sign on the 1st, is there any cancellation period, I guess, for us to exit out of it? If by our first meeting is on the 9th?
Probably not.
Yeah, I don't
Gotta ask the
believe
question.
so.
Yeah, I don't think there will be either, but historically, they have been lower than the rates we've been able to get on our own. And we've been doing well with them for the past few years. I would say-
Gas too, we did it with gas, right?
Diesel.
Fuel, yeah, fuel.
Yeah.
With diesel, yeah. Yeah, they're showing, they showed a nice little graphic here, which, I'm not naive to know that they're trying to show you good numbers. But by holding off locking in a couple years ago, they did save $1.5 million consortium-wide. So, in working with this group, there does appear to be some good savings. And that 5.33 cents is a very good rate. They expect it to go up about 8.5% is, I guess, what they're expecting these numbers to come in. But it would be a one-time increase, and then 26, 27, there would be no increase in the electric. It would still be that I think it was like a 5.8 cents per kilowatt hour is what
So
they're
how many
expecting.
people are in the consortium? People,
Yeah, sure.
groups,
No,
not
no.
people, groups.
Yeah,
I think the majority of Montgomery County is in.
Okay.
I know they also do work over in Bucks County and other counties, but it sounded to me like the majority of Montgomery County was in this one.
So that would be all the school districts and
Yeah.
I guess the MCIU.
Yeah.
So it looks like it could be, sorry, there's too many zeros. 5.33 is 0.0533.
Yeah.
Times 108% equals, so it could be 0.575.
0.575 probably.
Thank you.
I just figured it out a minute ago.
Thank you, I
Before we
appreciate
were
that.
going.
That's where I'm going. All right. Does anyone have any problem with that? Leaving it up to Drew, since we're staying in the consortium?
I don't have a problem with
I
that.
know we did look at that when we did the Giza project. I'm going to say, because we use Provident, which is what
Right.
Regents is now. And they helped us along. I'm pretty sure they put us in that consortium, so.
Yeah. You're sort of banking on, you're buying bulk,
Bulk.
consortium
Right.
level.
Yes.
That's what's going to get you the best pricing, which does work.
Yep.
Okay.
And I'm happy to maybe put under old business in the future in that May finance agenda,
Perfect.
what that final rate is that we locked in.
Okay.
Sure.
So if we dropped out of the consortium, we would be on our own and we would pay whatever the going rate is.
Yeah, which would be PPL, PICO, MedEd, all three of them.
Right.
Yeah, you're able to shop around
Right.
for another
Yeah,
supplier.
but still, that's also, you
Yeah.
don't have economies of scale with
Correct.
just one person.
Yeah. Especially since we don't have like the whole district on one
Decided to stick with
electric
Right, that's
company.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it gets
That kind
tricky,
of stuff.
gets complicated, yeah.
it.
Yep.
Never had a problem with them.
Okay. Okay, so if you tell us in May,
Yeah.
then we'll see where we go with that. Thank you. All right, 2024-25 budget review.
Okay, so I included with the agenda, just a couple of spreadsheets to show you, expenditures and revenue.
I'll get it.
Okay. So when we spent all that time reviewing,
Oh, can I have one?
I think Keith might need a copy too.
The spreadsheet? Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, so
It's a couple pages.
it kind of takes a look at where we were when we presented and went over all those presentations, and then I have it updated as to where we are right
How
now.
much this?
Thank you.
Mhm.
I don't think I forgot.
So that first page is a summary. That shows when we presented, we were at just about 81 million in expenditures and 74 million in revenue. And there's some changes, and we can look at the detail of those changes, but expenditures since those presentations have dropped just over 10,000, and revenue has increased $458,000. So we went from a difference of 6.7 to 6.2.
Okay.
And then the detail is the following pages.
From your bank account, yeah.
We received a donation from. So, in the following pages, we'll take a look at exactly what the changes were.
Thank you.
Yep. So expenditures is the second page. We added $1,500 for truck rental. That's for the high school band because I forget what the piece of equipment was.
That should have been our
Bravo.
bank budget.
Thank you. So that, we sort of need a separate truck that has a,
Lift
we
gate.
need to rent a truck to transport that.
For all the tubers.
For all the equipment. We determined that we did not have Crisis Go in the budget when we were initially presented, and also there's an upgrade that at some point I'm sure we'll be talking to you about upgrading that system. So that was another 15,500 that we added.
Including the upgrade?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
And then there was one more retirement that came in after the last presentation. So we usually assume the new hires are coming in like a master's step 6, I think is what we do. But this person retiring was higher up on the scale. So there's a savings right there in our budget. So that's in the salaries and the benefits. And we also needed to increase the technology budget for some additional cybersecurity measures that Jim is looking at. So when you net all that together, that's your reduction of 10,382 in expenditures.
Page I want to see.
The revenues, so that's the next page. So we are reimbursed for half of our Social Security and retirement for all of our staff. So if you reduce, so if somebody retires, you're reducing the expenditure side, you also have to reduce half on the revenue side. So that's the 1,500 and the 6,800 right there. So my plan is for next month to really take a look at real estate, earned income tax, delinquent real estate, and real estate transfer tax. So those are like the big ones, the big revenue items that we can take a look at. So I can track our collections. I take a look at where we were at that month over the last 5 years, and we can say, well, it looks like we're collecting more than what we have in the past. And just look at the budget and sort of adjust the budget that way. So when I took a look at all those projections, I feel pretty comfortable in increasing the delinquent real estate tax 50,000 because our liens were also higher for 2023. So that, to me, timing of all that means we should get more revenue than in 24-25. Our earned income tax collection has been strong, so I bumped that line up to 4.5 million. And our real estate taxes, I feel like we can bump that collection rate up to, I think I went up to 97.5%.
That's good, that's great.
Yeah. So, in looking at all that, here's the additional revenue that popped in, and that was the 458,000.
Okay.
Revenue.
Great.
Good job.
So, I don't know if there's really anything else that we still need to discuss those new personnel items that we So we threw everything into the budget. But we do need to discuss what we're doing with those positions. We also did have a large health insurance increase, and it, in my eyes, it looks like it's kind of this one-time bump to get us up. So, you know, I do need to sit down with Dr. Roche and Georgie and sort of talk about, because we had sort of bannered around an idea about using some funds with CPAS to make that not such a large increase all in 1 year. So that was an item that needs to be discussed. I think that's pretty much it.
See, we pretty much, according to our timeline, we pretty much need to have a recommendation for the final budget today.
For the proposed,
Right, well, right, not
Final,
set
yeah.
in stone, but a recommendation.
yeah.
I recommend that we leave town. It's gonna be amazing. All right, so,
Let me
go
ask
ahead.
a question.
No, go ahead.
Last week, we had a budget presentation down at the JOC, with the increase in the budget there. You know, the min to max could have been 235 to 315, roughly was the range if we went for everything.
In terms of the max dollars over last year's
For
budget?
us, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. What did we allocate for us this year?
For the increase,
JOC? Yes,
about 260.
260 for us.
So we're
we'd
somewhere
be
in the
about-
middle.
We could be about 60
Short.
short on that. So I meant to get that presentation and forward it to you, and I'm sorry I didn't get it done. So,
I have it, I can do it.
but no, it just.
Was that the consensus did they come up with a consensus at the Western Center meeting?
We're thinking about it over the month. I think a lot of people were in favor of it. What this increase would have been doing would be the security updates. We asked for some more information about the vestibule relocation.
Yeah, I had a chuckle when I saw the reason for I saw it in the briefs that came out just today or
I
yesterday.
didn't read it yet.
Yeah, that the reason is it's too disruptive for the office staff.
Yeah. But there was a relocation, it was like 50,000 to do some security upgrades, and then adding an assistant principal. And there was something else in there, I forget what it was. But it would have come out to, you know, if we did everything, it'd be about 320, I think, was the max. Somewhere around there for us.
$320,000 increase over last year's budget
Yes.
for us.
Yes,
Right.
correct.
It's an overall budget increase for them, over 10%. Like, so their overall budget's going up 10%, which is a lot.
So
Yeah,
that's-
for them it's a lot.
Yeah, I know, usually it's about exactly the same, or it's really close.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure we have that in there. That's all.
Yeah, so, yeah, like Dr. Rose said, I have 260, I think. About
Excellent.
260,000 I had put
We
in.
budgeted 260,000 above last
Yeah.
ye's number
Okay.
based upon that.
Knowing that that was gonna
Yeah,
come down
the
slightly.
the lowest would seem to be about 213
Yeah, it
in
was,
that range,
yeah.
and then the most recent reiteration of
Could be 350.
everything. Again, that's just our portion, but yeah.
Yep, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I did have one other thing. So PASBO, the school business official organization, I think they are recommending everybody put, I think it was half of what the governor proposed into basic education. And I understand why they're doing that, because if 500 schools say, hey, we put X amount in our budgets, that could potentially put pressure on the legislature to put that money in the state budget then. So I get that, I get why they're saying that. They don't have to live with a budget if that money's not there, which we do. So I brought the 24-25 budget up to our 23-24 amount that we're getting. So I didn't put any of his
Extra.
proposal, extra money in there.
Just what we expected.
Yeah. So what he's proposing for Upper Perk was a $400,000 increase. I could put 200 in there if you wanted to run it tight. It may come through, it may not, I have no idea. I mean,
I'd rather go with our low number
Yeah, I think I
and
agree
be
with that.
gifted something later on than to try and have to make it up after putting it in there on PASBO's suggestion, unless PASBO wants to make up the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really.
They don't have to
that's-
live with it if it doesn't come in,
Yeah,
we do.
Right, well,
Mhm.
exactly. And is there any anticipation of when?
It's gonna be, it's gonna be
That's right,
July,
first
August.
year.
It's gonna be July or August.
It's like that for the year, it's been a couple of months.
I know, it's
Yeah.
just your first year
It's
going.
gonna be a July or August, it's
Yeah.
gonna be well into our season, we'll have already had to make decisions.
Yeah,
That's why I giggled, I was just up
Like
at,
you said, you gift and say thank you very much, and
Yes.
and it'll be just in the back of our minds that maybe our deficit will go down a little bit.
Yeah.
and I know I missed a couple of meetings, and I just wanna make sure that Katrina and Leo brought up a little bit on how budgeting has happened in the past. There's been a tolerance from the board to dip into the fund balance to help plug some of that, so we could move forward, and then probably, I don't know, Drew, check me on this, 6 of the past 7 or 7 of the past 8 years, that hasn't been necessary, but we're getting better. We're trying to focus on that.
You guys are getting a lot closer. than
So,
used to.
you know, I'll just say it and then, you know, deny saying it later. You know, what is an index number that you're gonna be able to live with, balanced with a fund balance number that you can live with? Because there's still some cranking to do. I mean, we have some work to do to get that number down. Right now, everything and the kitchen sink is in there, including the staffing that I'm looking at here, you know. So, because that's a part of the process. Again, if you heard everyone's wish list, it would be triple what's on there.
Mhm.
So, you know, I think we get the balance of the number, the percent, and then balance with the realistic fund balance whole as we continue to get better at the budget. So is there a percentage that you're gonna tolerate or besides 0, right? I mean, I get that, so, you know, we'll continue to crank, that's what we're gonna do between now and the
Yes.
next meeting.
And I appreciate that.
Of course,
I
no,
mean,
that'll
I
happen
really
through the
appreciate
ending,
that.
the ending of that. And Drew will continue to take a look at the revenues and the expenditures and fine tune that. And there's no doubt that we're gonna get something from the IU that's a new cost plan, that we're like, oh, there's another 300,000 of something else that 3 new kids are coming in that we have to budget for. And that's a part of that, so they're not all gonna go down.
No,
But where we stand, to be clear, right now, is with Drew's new numbers, we're 1,729,000 over what our revenue.
correct.
That's,
Yes.
okay.
Yep.
Well,
But that's with a 6.6% tax increase.
Yeah, that's if we go to
That's
the
if you're gonna
maximum.
raise taxes 6.6%.
Yeah. It's not, it's worse than that.
Okay,
Because
thank you.
I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to vote for 6.6%.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to get, where is that?
Okay,
Yeah.
thank
Where is
you.
that tolerance
Where's the
level?
sweet spot, yeah.
Okay,
You know,
thank you for that
Yep.
clarification.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then I don't know if it was on here, I already saw it somewhere else, oh, yeah, some of these other bigger items, right? We're paying for year 3 of a teacher's contract, year 4 of the transportation. I mean, I know you know, I'm just bringing it up in terms of
No, that's fine.
the pieces that are there. So those are
Yeah, all
the
those
things.
things are already put in place.
Right.
There's nothing we can change
Yep,
about
yep.
them right now.
This number is with just the number 1 priority items in, correct?
That's everything. That's everything they could think of.
all of it's included, yeah.
Yeah, that's everything they could think of in a regular budget, not including.
Not everything.
Additional salary.
Not everything.
Everything that you did tell us, yeah, right. Everything that you could, everything, but that's fine.
I know,
That's,
right, I mean, that's,
that's where you need
Yeah.
to start.
Yeah, I
Rather
mean,
than telling me you don't need anything, and then all of a sudden you need $3 million worth of things
yeah.
that we have budget for.
so if I go through the staffing quickly, so the priority ones on the staffing is an ESL teacher based upon doubling our ESL population, our English language learner population, and think about having, although the number of students went from roughly 14 to 28 and is increasing, you're also talking about sprinkle 2 teachers over 5 buildings. You just can't meet the needs in that piece. That's the number one, that's a compliance issue with caseloads. Speech therapist, school psychologist, those are things that are caseload driven, that when you don't want settlements and those other things, you get caught in the back end. And then I put in here 2 classroom teachers, because I'm seeing 2 pockets of potential increase class sizes as things roll from year to year. I don't want to say what they are right now, because because then that principal and or that class thinks they're getting a class, and when they don't, they lost something they never had.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Been there, seen that.
that's 2 teachers that potential, because we're trying to keep things within the guidelines. And when you get into 5 and 6 sections in classes in elementary level, they both work within the guidelines, right? 22 to 26, so you get five sections or 6 sections, and then it's like, well, what does Hertford have versus what does Marlboro have, right? So it's that balance. So those are the ones. The 2s are the items that are not required by compliance, but strong recommendations, need, maintain, improve programs. So 1 is an administrator, it's a special education supervisor at the secondary level, more so the high school. Part of that's TSI, part of that's just continued complex needs with Mrs. Coyle, who handles a lot of our outside pieces. This is kind of more of an internal piece. That's the only administrative piece that's on the docket right now. There is a maintenance supervisor for facilities. That's at the request of Mr. Howard for additional, a new position, but supervisor help with both first and second shift. That was probably coming down the pike from Mr. Kenwood as well. It was just,
It
was
was.
out there for a little while. And then we have the next 2 are positions that are currently being ESSER funded, that we're seeing a positive impact at the high school with the college and career counselor, and the high school coach/more MTSS coordinator. Again, probably some of that TSI work to help support that. Those are the 2 positions that were there for ESSER that you knew were out there. And then transitioning some of our contracted nurses to district nurses, because the nursing field with subs and things are getting more challenging, and we're beginning to pay almost the same amount. We're paying far more, I should say. The nurses from the agencies now are getting paid a much higher rate than they were before. So, Drew, I don't know if there's a negative to this number, some of the...
Well, yeah, so I thought about this a couple nights ago. If we do go with any of those positions that Dr. Rich was just talking about, there needs to be a reduction somewhere else.
In your 300s, in your contracted services, for the
Correct.
nurses,
Yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, because right now we have both in there. We have not hiring a person and we have hiring a person.
Okay.
So if
Just
we keep
depends
the
on where ours
person,
are, the places, yeah.
somewhere there needs
So
to
those
there will be-
are the priority 2s, and then there's 3 priority 3s.
Oh,
One
I
is,
ran out of paper.
one is simply,
I do, I just wanted to.
one is simply
Right.
a 15-minute adjustment from one elementary school to match the other elementary school in terms of time for lunch assistance and recess aides. Again, we're talking a total of $3,500, $3,300. And the other 2, again, these are priority 3s, right? Nice to haves, not required, and can be considered. One is to an instructional coach at 4 or 5. Right now, it's split the person is split between gifted support and coaching, and their time gets usurped one way or the other. But if we want to finish this coaching program with a full-time person, that mirrors what happens at the 2 K3s, as well as at the middle school. It is to add that position. Again, not compliance related. I'm sure the person that would like to make the recommendation, put it at a 2, I'm putting it at a 3, being realistic in terms of what we're doing. And then finally, a building maintenance tech was requested. So that's another piece of the facilities puzzle that I can share the chart from Mr. Howard in terms of that. So again, I don't necessarily think it's required. I think it's on the list he made there. And often these 3s are 1s when we get down to it, which are under consideration. Maybe we see them next year as a 2 based upon that. But that's where we are. So that's a quick rundown of what
Thank
that
you.
is. And so.
Okay. Okay. Anyone like to have any discussion on any of that? Thoughts?
So I think we'll crank down. I'll take a look. I know Dr. Farina is working with the principals on their classroom numbers, all the, as signups are happening right now for secondary classes to see what those look like. And then again, the elementary numbers. Kindergarten is obviously always a challenge. And what has helped us with kindergarten now that we've gone full day is a very good predictor of first grade now. Because, we don't, you get some newbies, but you don't, before he was like
An
a
onslaught,
shot there,
yeah.
yeah. And we have, like I said, we have a class or 2 that's bigger coming through, that maybe I'll make up the numbers, they may have 5 sections in second grade, and there's only 4 teachers sitting in fourth.
Right.
So, unless there's someone over here to move based upon that, and we'll do that before we're gonna hire just blindly, so.
Right.
Some of those hires won't be till July, based upon the budget as well as seeing those numbers board up.
Okay.
Yeah. And I know the principals get frustrated with, we
Yeah,
gotta see real numbers. No, I'm saying, we gotta see real numbers, that's how it happens.
So overall, we're looking at 12 new positions. If you take out the cafeteria assistants,
They're, well, they're not, yeah, ESL is new. Speech therapy may be contracted. I don't know if it's a matter of contract.
I have to check.
But that could be caseload, that could be two. School psychologist is new. The teachers,
two
if we,
classroom teachers.
if, yeah, that would be new. Supervisors new, both supervisors there. College and career and coordinator, they would be new positions, they would be the current people that are in there. Again, that's the balance of using grant
Right.
funding.
Right, that's new in the sense
Yeah.
that we're not paying by ESSER funding.
Correct,
Right.
correct.
Yeah, so,
District nurses, that may be, it's not a wash, but it's gonna be, the nurses are there, they may have been funded out of a different fund code, but bringing them on. And the other, yeah, besides the other ones would be new, yeah. And I gave the code to my team, the priority example
it's
was,
actually 14.
priority one, must have legal requirement compliance related or we're gonna be in trouble. Two, strong recommendation, need, maintain, improve, sustain programs and supports. And then three was want but not required, nice to have. That's a
Right.
very simple coding system that
Makes sense.
we can agree or disagree with in terms of some, how's people putting it on there, then I went back through and rebalanced them out. So,
I just want to know, how did we get to $82 million? When I got on the board, it was 52. Yeah. 7 years.
Debt service,
That's a big increase.
contracts.
Loans.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that part, but that was 6 million of it a year, right there. So I'd say 58, so 58, 68.
Okay, I would say definitely keep the ones. We need to have some discussions about the twos. Facilities, this would be questions for Mr. Robinson. Is that going to be a promotion of somebody and then hiring a new person, or, is
the
that?
job will get posted like any other job.
Yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't simply be,
Yeah.
taking someone and acknowledging that there would be
Right,
that, the job will get posted, they would go through the process. There may be more than one person internally that may be interested,
Right,
so.
yeah, so we'll go.
But yes,
so we'll
in
go
general,
through
it would be a
the person.
posting of a position,
Right.
someone would fill that, and then,
Ideally, yes.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so that's kind of what I'm looking at there.
Drew, do you have off the top of your head what the, not just the 6.6%, what that leaves us with the deficit at the moment? Which again includes all of those positions, the ones, twos, and threes.
Yeah, so that should, you mean on the first page there, the 1.7? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, if that's 6.6, what's 5? What's
Yeah.
3?
So I have kind of a working,
I figured you did, that's why I asked.
yeah, so let's say that the maximum tax increase that the board will tolerate is 3.5%.
Yeah, that's
Just
what I'm saying.
what does the
Yeah.
fund balance kick out look like?
Yeah,
I had 3 in there. So, so 3.5 would give an additional 1.5 million roughly.
so it would be a 3.2, 3.2?
Yes. Separate.
Oh, wait,
So-
wait, yeah, 3.2 is plus, yeah.
Yeah, so I sort of had, I was taking a look at this saying what the current difference was, which was the 6.6. And then I was subtracting out, we still need to figure out, but make up a number for the CPAS number, say 500,000. And then a 3.5% increase would bring additional 1.5 million in revenue. And if we only kept in the priority 1, then we could take out 814,000. But again, that needs to be discussed more, but I'm just trying to come up with.
No, these are scenarios, they're good to
Yeah.
hear, that's what the.
So 6.2 minus 550, I did 550,
Three-
minus 1.5, which would be the 1.5 million, which would be a 3.5% tax increase, minus 814,000, which is only keeping priority 1, then you would be a difference of 3.36 million. So a 3.5% increase with those other things would give a difference of 3.36 million.
3.36?
Correct.
in a deficit?
Correct.
Okay, and that's keeping all the ones.
Keeping the ones.
And using CPAS money for the.
And using
the bond.
CPAS, yeah, to sort of slowly get up to where we think we should be based on what looks to be a
Okay.
miscalculation for the
Uh,
surveys.
What's the cost
Are
of
you,
the priority ones?
Well, I have priority 2 and priority 3 cost 814.
Priority one's all in 536, 526,
Yeah,
526,000.
the total is 1.3.
Again, that's all in PSERS, FICA
Yeah.
benefits, and we're assuming family benefits.
114K is priorities 2 and 3. 814.
Two-
Thank you, that makes life a little easier. I
2
couldn't write all that
and
fast.
3 is 814,
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
or 810 if you wanted to do the cafeteria systems.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So a question I would have, is there any, looking at crystal ball, is there any implications about using the 500,000 in CPAS, with regard to the fact that in January, we're gonna start doing our next teacher's contract? Good or bad? Like, I remember that being a
Yeah. so-
sticking point.
My 2 cents before we talk
Thank you.
is it would actually only help.
Okay.
It would bring it down.
Okay.
Because
So there'd be less
as
than
it's, yeah, I mean, the balance there would be, we could do a premium holiday or something like that. So it's pay me here, pay me there.
Mhm.
You know, there's definitely an impression, as you know from negotiations,
I
that
do.
that is our money
Exactly.
versus that is our.
The district's money,
Right, the
yeah.
district's money, or all employees' money, type
Gotcha.
of thing.
Or
So,
18% of it.
Something like that,
Okay,
right?
that's why I asked the
That's what,
question.
yeah, that's my initial thought, is if that
The
was.
less there is, but the less there is. to
Correct.
argue
The
about.
closer we get to the recommended 3 to 4 months versus 7 to 8 months, the less that can be utilized as leverage. That's my-
Gotcha.
that's
If anybody
my-
has any questions about that, I'll be happy to answer them for you at another time. It's a little complex, that's all, the only reason I didn't necessarily want that on video. Okay. Anyone have, all right, so you went at 3.5, and that still leaves us with 3.36.
Yeah, and that's where I also had a line here for the governor proposed budget, increasing that line by 200,000, not the 400,000. And
Right.
that, these were just the ideas that I had to sort of
Yep.
see what,
Give us what the.
yeah, what the number comes down to.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions on any other percentage they were thinking or not thinking?
What was that, what was last year's tax increase? Do you remember?
It was,
Was it 3 or 4?
it was what I didn't want it to be.
Yeah.
I think it was 4.
I think it was 4.
Yeah.
I think it was 4.
Just for comparison, can you tell us 4 or 4.5? Not that I want to go anywhere, but
I'm running out of paper.
we need the numbers to see what the differences are going to be.
Yeah, so 4 would bring you at 3.14.
Okay.
So every percent is
Right.
400 and, what is it, 440,000?
Yeah.
Let me make sure of that. Yeah, about 440, yeah. And you said a 4.5? What was it?
4.4 and 4.5, yeah.
Look,
And then that's 2.9.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so that's where, when you're looking at this, you're saying, I hate to use fund balance to balance the budget, but
But,
if the governor's budget proposal does come in and bring extra revenue, then that number gets even smaller and smaller with
Yeah.
that. And, there's always ways that, everybody looks for ways to save throughout the year,
exactly.
so.
Exactly. So, and my thoughts are, I feel like, I know you budget them in, but I feel like and this only comes from living here to know things like that, unless you're really, really paying attention, which you don't live here, so it's okay. You don't have to. That's what our job is. Things like new housing developments, new big gigantic warehouses, all of that increases the tax revenue, which is good. Never thought I'd hear myself say that, but I do. So those are the things, there's other things that change that we can't help. Like if you get a new housing development, you get more per capita tax, you get more earned income tax, you get more of everything. You take a golf course like where where Northgate is, and the whole taxes for that golf course were $40,000 a year. So you split it up into 700 houses at $5,000 a year, and that's a big increase, which we sucked up. So, not why that. Just saying. That's where my head is. That's why I wouldn't say that out loud. Those are the things that I think about.
But out of those 736 homes, they have children, they attend school, they utilize,
I know, but the balance of that is, we still have the same amount of kids we've had for the last 20 years. Within,
Which is,
A few.
that's just so amazing.
it's amazing. Well, you figure, all right, here's my philosophy on this. So you figure, the people that already lived here before that, there's a trade-off. The people that live here are older. My kids all grew up, they all grew up here and they're gone, but we still live here. And now you have 2 more tax bases because my kids live here too. It's one of those chicken and egg things, I guess. But I just feel like what was proposed, that there were so many kids, there were a lot of people that moved there that didn't have any kids. And I don't really foresee, that. Like, there's no new study, we haven't done any study on that.
In
There's
about
a
3 years.
supposed study on that, which said we were gonna have 4,000 kids in like 5 minutes, which we didn't. Okay, I'm done.
Well, and, you know, demographically, you know, the population, you know, the birth rate is down. You know, instead of having 4 or 5 kids, you know, 1.5 maybe,
Mhm.
maybe 2. So how does this compare with other school districts as far as population?
They all have industry that pays for their taxes.
No,
That's the problem.
I mean about population-wise with number of students.
Depends on the district. You know, it
Yeah.
depends on whether they're growing or not, developing. You know, as you move further out, you're having some school districts that are exploding. You know, look at Springford 15 years ago.
Right?
God, they went from 6 schools to 9, 12, what are they up to, 26 now or
Yeah.
something?
Yeah, right.
even those separate buildings.
Yeah.
Even North Penn, which is a huge school district.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
it's crazy.
Yeah, I just drove past there the other day. I think they tore down their old tech center and created a new football
They
field
did.
there, and, yeah, I taught in
No,
that
it was
school
still there.
30
I went
years
to
ago.
that school, not the tech school.
I taught adult education there in the 90s,
Okay, all right.
so,
But
computers.
that said, with all the new developments, it's still, you know, you would expect, you know, there's some new development to have kids.
It's not. That's
They
amazing.
chose a house instead of kids.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, that's
it.
true, but
That's-
you also
well,
have
yeah,
people
we're-
moving
we're-
within the
yeah.
community, not necessarily moving into the community, but within the community also.
Mhm.
So it's a combination of factors there. You're not going to get a straight exponential growth on student attendance, let's put it that way. Because how many kids might be, you know, real life example, you know, a friend down the street from us had their kids living with them and they just happened to move out within the past year. Luckily, they moved to another district, so that's really a small savings for us, but, you know, but generally they move within the district, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you want from us today, Drew? Anything?
Well,
Money?
Yeah,
so we do need a number for
that's what I thought.
the board in May. That number can always come down, but my understanding is that that number can never go up.
Correct.
So you don't want to go with, yeah, and I know.
It's not true, that's
It's
can't
not
go up.
true, but
It's
it's
just
very
disingenuous.
frowned on, yeah. It's
Yes.
really frowned on.
Yes, we don't want to do
You don't want to
that.
go up.
I'd rather say 5 and come down to 3.5, you know, than say 3.5 and have to go up to 5.
Yep, I agree with that completely.
So with 5, it still doesn't.
And I'm not saying put that in there, yeah.
It still doesn't define,
Oh, right.
it still doesn't define the fund balance piece.
It's already written.
Right, so
Hasn't
5
been
is
done.
the max tax increase that you're kind of saying as we're going to continue to work down. And the moving factors are obviously the items that are in there, as well as additional revenues and/or pieces that are part of that, as well as the fund balance piece. So, but that's what will be on the paper. That's what it'll be, that's what it is at this point, as a preliminary. That's just a normal number for that to work its way down. It's not like that's out
If
of.
we're going with the 5.
Well, I'm
I
saying,
feel like I wrote it down, but I got some.
So 5% would be about a 2.5 million out of our fund balance approximately, give or take.
2.7, yeah.
100,000,
until we crank,
yeah.
until we tighten down.
Yeah.
Right. 4.5 would be a 2.9 million deficit, 3.14 for 4%. Thoughts, committee? I mean, actually, what Keith said, I would say 5, and I'm hoping it'll be less than that.
Or
I
if
said
you're
that
not going to
again.
do 5, you'd say 475. Throw a decimal in there.
Yikes.
4.8.
Marketing strategies,
There you go.
just like the candy aisles at checkout.
$29.99.
I like the idea of 4.75, I think it's a little less scary and even, like for us, it's not a super big deal either way, so I just think perhaps 5 would be, that's more, panic inducing.
They're all panic inducing.
Or you could really, you might get rid of a few residents by saying 6.6. You know, they just,
No.
their
Get
heart
out.
goes, you know.
No.
I
Go
mean,
to
it's-
hell and
it's-
invest
Well, I think we still should leave the option open for 5. And that's coming from me.
That's scary.
It's scary, I know it is. I know it is.
4.99.
I don't want to throw all their options out either, if we think we can manage that. But if we present that at May 9th, we can talk about it from there.
And then we got all 9 people trying to decide on a number.
Yeah, then we have 5 other people that
Yeah,
are
It's
here.
not solely on us.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it'll get a discussion going at least about it, and we'll see where they fall. Because they're actually the majority at the moment, because there's 5 of them and 4 of us, so.
I do like that 499 though, instead of 5.
I'll-
Pardon?
497.
Yeah, 497, APR.
I like 4.75, but I mean, I'm not gonna fight you.
No, I know, I just.
There are
We're
things that we'll
trying to
fight
get it
about,
done.
and that's,
No.
for today, it
Yeah,
is,
That's
isn't
not
it?
it. Leah, what do you say?
Well, I think, like he said, if it's at 5 and we come down to 3 something, it sounds better than coming down from 4. Because they're only going to hear the 4, they're not going to hear the 7.5, but if they hear 5 and we come down to 3 something, then
5.
Okay.
So for 5,
5
come down to
minutes.
3.99.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll work on it.
Anything
Come down
under
to
4 would
4.75.
be desirable.
Yeah.
3.5 would be the target,
Yeah.
but anything under 4 would be desirable.
Yep,
Okay, 5%,
okay.
have a number.
All right. We'll close the budget for the moment and go
You could
to,
put it in as 4.999 that rounds to 5.
that's it, yeah, there you go. Depends on whose calculator you use.
Do we feel that we need another meeting of the committee? Not that I want to have another meeting.
No, I don't think so.
We're good with this one, and then the
I
next
think-
time we meet is what, 13th or?
9? Oh, here.
20th.
Okay, so what would it be, 20th?
20.
Yeah, okay, so then the 9th of May is when you're going to post that percent.
Mhm.
Right, it'll be out for public. We know we moved it back, the mood meeting, so we have the meeting on May 20th following the 9th post. And then I believe we have a meeting in June.
20th?
No, it's not,
It
we
has
moved
to
it a
be
week
early.
earlier.
13th.
Yes, we moved it to the 13th before the 16th meeting. So the committee will be 2 times before the June board meeting for final approval.
Right, because we do it in the third week
Yeah,
instead
we
of the.
slide it back in case of graduation, which we
Yeah.
didn't need to this time, but so be it. But we also moved that meeting from the third Monday up to the second, to allow
Okay.
for that meeting.
Okay.
I can add that.
You don't have it on,
It's June 10th.
June 10th it should be. I don't see it here either.
Okay, so June 10th will be the last,
That's when it should be.
the last finance.
No, the June
June
17th.
17th.
It's the 17th because our meeting's on the 20th.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so we
Yeah,
have
wait.
a May 9th, we're gonna post the 5.
May 9th is a board meeting,
Mm-hmm.
so at next week's workshop, you'll share the.
Yep.
you'll share-
Right, so essentially, we're gonna have 5-9 for a board,
Yep,
and then we'll have 5-20 for finance.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
and then we'll have 5-7, and then we'll have a workshop on 5-23,
Okay.
Yes.
and then we'll have 5-17 for committee.
6/17.
Sorry, yep, 6-17, and then 6-20 for the board. We only have one meeting in June, we slide it back
Yes.
a week, so it kind of splits, and it gives the full 30 days from May 9th
Yep,
through there for that.
because we have to let it out in the public for so long.
Yeah.
That way the paper can kill us on the way by, it'll be fun. Okay, all right.
That's our final hurrah, and then
Yep.
we break for this summer.
Exactly. We run out of time.
Typically, yeah, there's really nothing in July.
Okay,
No,
Going around and hide for the summer.
yes,
Yeah.
that's our summer vacation. All right, so we don't have anything else on per capita taxes, and no, I did not make that meeting. I didn't make a meeting yet with the tax.
Oh,
collectors.
yeah, okay, that's right.
I didn't get a chance to do that yet.
Yeah, the only thing I have with per capita is I did contact the gentleman
Oh,
who was
yeah.
having an issue, and he did not get back to me again. So
Still?
now this is so I did check with Berkheimer,
Mhm.
and the account has been paid.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
So should we make
So
all
we can
per
take that
capita?
off of old business.
Okay.
do you mean
So they
paid as in,
reimbursed
As
him.
in,
Yeah.
no, he paid
He's been paid
the
back.
bill, the tax bill.
no,
No, he
there's
paid
a,
the bill.
He paid the
the
tax bill.
taxes.
he was
Oh,
looking for a refund.
That's
yeah,
what I thought.
And
But
you're-
So we don't know.
The wages were, there was an attachment on the wages
Yeah,
because the taxes were not paid.
right.
According to Berkheimer now, the taxes have been paid.
that's probably out of it. Garnishment, that's probably out of the garnishment.
Well, yeah.
Because you have to do that. I know as an employer, you have to do
Well, you
that.
have to withhold, yeah.
Okay,
So I mean, I did reach out and
let's just
say,
leave it off. If he didn't call back twice,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
I do want to know. though,
I do
but
too.
Whatever.
I know. I
Can't
know.
force him to call us back.
It's
Exactly.
up to the individual
Yeah.
to
Yeah,
do the necessary steps to get the remediation.
yeah,
yeah. And I did send the exoneration forms months ago.
yep,
Right.
So, yeah. I mean,
Sheesh.
what, I'm sorry?
Months ago.
yeah, it was months ago. Okay, all right, well, if anyone hears, we can just say. Okay, all right, let's look at the informational fund stuff, because I like that
Yeah.
part.
So House Bill 1422 would cap the non-special ed cyber charter tuition rate at $8,000.
Yay.
Yeah, which would be great. That could save about $1.1 million out of next year's budget if it comes through. I feel like I've been listening to this for 10 plus years,
Mhm.
so I'll believe it when I see it, but
Yeah,
there is some steam, it seems, behind
there should be.
this one.
What's the cap currently?
There's no cap currently. We're paying over
It's a lot.
$14,000.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
Current rate all depends upon the district. So
Yeah.
we're paying 13,000 and we're paying 30,000 for special ed. Is it Lower Marion is paying 52,000 for special ed
I can't even,
student?
Yeah.
yeah, I still have the money.
Maybe, but it's just, how do you
I know,
justify,
it's- Yeah,
you know,
exactly. There are no
Yep,
Yeah.
fast rules for it.
no,
that's a tough part, I think. The
Mhm.
rational person is gonna be like, that doesn't make, you know, how is every person different
yep,
and so vastly different?
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
Just like that would do for our budget this year.
Ah, that would be a blessing. Would be very nice. Okay,
All right, so we are gonna get 3,300 back for the water pressure issues at Marlboro. And looking at the total cost of the bills and everything that came through, there's certain things are not allowed through insurance reimbursement, and then we have the $2,500 deductible. So the best we could do is get $3,300 back.
okay. So there's your lunch assistance right there. Sorry, I like to earmark things in my head for that. Okay, that's awesome, okay.
And there's, so Senator Pennycook? Pennycook's office reached out to Dr. Roche and said, hey, somebody's trying to get co-sponsors for this bill. And my understanding from PASBO is that this bill would allow multi-county school districts to have Act 1 be applied universally to both counties. But it would be an option. So if we said we're happy with how we are right now, we can stay that way. Or we can go
Act 1 or step?
Act 1.
Step.
Well, so Act 1 increase would be applied to each county the same. I don't know how this is all gonna work.
So the impact step.
It would impact STEP, yeah. But
That's
you
where
would-
I'm going with
You would be
that.
able
That's
to, you would be able to apply the Act 1 index equally, which we do right now
We do
anyway.
anyway,
Yeah,
but it's the step that we don't.
States.
well, right.
Tax
Stabilization and
equalization
tax.
board,
Yeah,
sorry, I am
state tax.
equalization.
State tax equalization board, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, what always bothered me with STEB, God, such an idiot, is the fact that, so, as it's been explained to me, because I did talk to the STEB director at the Department of Education at one point, so Berks County was assessed a lot longer ago than Montgomery County was reassessed. Neither of them are going to assess at any point in any future time because nobody has time for it. And it's a really expensive thing for them to do. So the way they do, the way we do it, and there's more than one way already, we do it so the district gets the most taxes is what we do.
Okay.
That's how it's been explained to me, and they agree. So Berks County, in order to equalize, we take all the STEB ratios for each municipality and township, and then, gosh, I haven't talked about this in a long time, and then we just use the lowest one, which gets us the most taxes. But technically, I think Upper Hanover, like the taxes would be totally different because the step ratio, if you use the one from the township or the borough, it would be totally different than just taking the lowest one, which gets us the most taxes. There's more than one way to do it. There's like 4 or 5 different ways to calculate how to use the step within districts that are in 2 counties, which there's only a couple.
And who makes that determination?
Well, we did.
The school district made
Yeah.
that determination years
But
ago when they switched to
I
this
don't
calculation.
remember what, yeah,
And that lives there until it changes.
Yes.
yeah. I don't know what it takes to change it though, that's the
Right.
thing. And I never worked out the other ones, I just think that that one gets us the most taxes. Because we take the lowest one, even though Upper Hanover, East Greenville, I think, is actually the highest one. So their taxes would be less.
So currently, no one has the same,
We don't technically all have the same step
because we
ratio.
talked about that with the per capita, because that's, like mine is much less than yours, which is crazy.
No,
So
no,
that's-
everyone's per capita is 14, if you pay
No,
them.
it's not, mine's 10.
Where, in which town?
Green,
Marlboro.
yeah,
Huh,
mine's 10, so.
huh.
Huh.
Because that's
Lucky.
because Marlboro only takes so much. We still get the same amount.
The school still
The
gets.
school
yeah.
still, Marlboro just probably doesn't take any of it.
Right.
Marlboro doesn't have their own per capita.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the only, yeah, that's why, that is
Yeah.
why. Yeah, so,
But, yeah, because when, another discussion, we were talking about 14, I said, no, that's 10. And if we pay it on time, it's $9.80.
yeah, mine's $14.70, yeah, 30 cents off we get, yeah. Yep,
So
all
Joe, we'll
right.
talk, I mean, Senator Pennycook reached out to me to get some feedback, so I know you provided me some, you talked to the PASBO, because I think they're trying to spearhead that, so.
Yeah, and it sounds like it's just giving districts another option,
Right,
Yeah.
which I don't see why we would oppose that. But I still think there's a lot of details that seem to be missing out of all this as to how it would work, but.
mhm.
And at this point, it's just an idea, there's no legislation.
There's no bill yet, I believe, they're still searching for
sure.
co-sponsors.
So the difference is It's the two counties that's the issue. That's why we do it different than everyone else. Because we can.
I remember with STEM, we could also have a situation where we had, 2 years ago, where
It's a minus.
we were minus.
That's the first
Right.
time in 20 years.
Right,
Just-
right.
Yeah, first time.
So your first X amount of percent of tax increase is still just to
A
offset
minus.
that, just to get back to zero.
Yeah.
Right, at least we're starting at zero now.
Mhm.
Wait, I'm channeling Rayanne.
Yes, zero, zero.
Yeah, zero equals zero.
Yeah. Right.
First switch. All
There
right.
used to be a clock up there.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
keep looking, I'm like.
Yep, you
We'll
too.
get one up there.
Okay.
Yep, yeah, that goes back to when Doug was here, yeah.
So one more question about
Go
this
ahead.
assessment, because I've never understood it before. If we raise the taxes 4.75,
Mhm.
is that across the board, everybody gets 4.75 raise?
Mhm.
Is that millage or is
Regardless of
that?
what the assessment is?
The assessment's
That would be on the
different, the
village.
assessment on your bill is gonna always be the same.
Okay.
Unless the county reassesses your house, or you add a pool,
Right,
or,
right.
you know, then it would go
It
up.
sells and it goes.
Right,
Yeah, but every house has the same millage rate.
yes.
It's the millage rate based upon your house assessment, so there'll be a certain
Okay.
millage rate of the home, every $100,000 worth of home would raise it $17, whatever it was, $28.
So if we raise the taxes, we all get jumped up that amount, but the assessments are different in each community?
Yeah, but it's only in the, we don't use it that way, though.
But I'm just, just for my own,
If you wanna discuss it sometime, I'll be
Yeah.
happy to show you. I have a whole big chart.
okay, I'd love to see it because
We can do a lunchtime presentation with
There you go,
Lunch
perfect.
and learn.
Perfect, lunch and
Lunch
learn,
and
yep.
No, I'd love to see
Melanie
it.
instead.
Yep,
It's
exactly.
always amazed me, like,
Yeah, well, that's what always kills me is the median. Like, don't give me the median of anything, because
right.
that throws off the whole bottom and the whole top, and I hate that.
Mhm.
It's average. I want to know what the average increases are,
Right.
not the median.
So we need that
That's
information.
so
Those are
misleading.
counter
It's so misleading,
Know
yeah.
that she hates the median, got it.
Got it, no
You haven't heard that
self.
before?
Accounting
No
tricks.
medians, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It's one of those accounting tricks.
Yep, it is, it is. All right. Anything from the public? Thank you for listening. Anything from the committee? Okay.
Do you have any
Motion to adjourn?
Aspirin, yeah. Okay, I have a motion to adjourn. Do
Yep,
I have a second?
yep.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Happy Monday.
Yep, yep, yep. Okay.